Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody, wherever you happen to find yourselves. My name is Carmen Mazzara, and I serve as Executive Director of APSIA, the Association of Professional Schools of International Affairs, to which all of your graduate schools belong. We're delighted to kick off 2024 with a look at the U.S. Virtual Student Federal Service Internship Program. We will have a brief presentation, but I do invite you to use this time to get your questions answered while we have Gwen here as a very captive audience to really help you put forward the best application possible for VSFS when it opens. I know that your career centers also have lots of information on this process, so please also don't forget to reach out to them as you prepare your application and hopefully land your internship and are very successful in that opportunity. And so as we go through, if you have any questions for our speaker, please feel free to put those in the chat. If you have any technical issues, please feel free to reach out to me directly. We are able to record this session, so you'll be able to revisit it on APSIA's YouTube page after this event is over. And so with that, I will stop with this crazy gravelly voice that I have and turn the floor over to Gwen as our speaker. Gwen, please.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I am putting in the chat right now the links to our social media. I'm just checking to see. I'm missing Twitter, X. I am presenting on my own here, so apologies when I go to post something in the chat. If I get a little distracted, I actually have my own VSFS interns, but I did not invite them to this. I think they're actually busy right now. Anyways, so please check out social media. I am going to present, if I can, I do not use Zoom a lot, I'm sorry. Where, oh my gosh, share screen. Aha, that was easy. Okay. There we go. So here is our schedule for this year. I'm going to go into more detail, but here's just a good overview. If those of you who are familiar with our program, we changed the schedule. So the schedule for the actual internships themselves remains the same. It's throughout the academic year. So it'll be fall of 2024 through spring of 2025. Our schedule for applications and matching has changed. So right now for this month, we are inviting all of the mentors to submit their projects. They will be available to interns in February, and then interviews and matching will happen in March and April, and our goal is for that to be decided by May. Now, keep in mind that there are mentors who get over 100 applications, so we can't expect that they're going to be conducting 50 or more virtual live interviews. So you should get contact during this time, although it may not be an actual interview. I'm encouraging them, if they can't do a virtual interview, to possibly just email some additional questions if they have those. So next, I am going to move over to a presentation on the program itself. And I'm actually going to move over here so I can see what I'm presenting. All right, so let me know if you can see the capital there.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so the VSFS program started in 2009. It started out as the foreign service. It was only for foreign service when it started, and it has expanded since. In 2016 was when it really opened up to the entire federal government. And I'll talk talk more about that as we go. So we accept U.S. citizens who have a high school diploma. So students can be rising freshmen in university all the way through PhD, and they're expected to be students for the entire academic year. Things change. Obviously, you may not know now if you get a full-time job and your schedule changes. So I encourage you to apply even if you aren't 100% sure you're going to be a student, because if you need to drop out of the program, that's fine, and you can still have the experience for the time you're able to commit to it. Now, if you know you're not going to be a student, please don't leave your mentors hanging, but totally understand if things come up and your schedule changes. This is one of the few, actually the only program I know of, besides some of our programs at the State Department that actually place you overseas with your internship, that aside from that allow you to be overseas to take on the internship. So most require that you're domestic. Ours allows anyone, domestic or international, so long as they're students and U.S. citizens, to take these positions. So it's flexible in that way. The work is largely unclassified, and it is across the federal government. So I can speak for the State Department. We do not sponsor students for clearances. Some agencies might, particularly our intelligence agencies, but it is up to those agencies. So I would not expect to be sponsored for a clearance. The time commitment is about 10 hours per week. So it's intended to be flexible, meaning that you should be communicating with your mentors when you have finals, if you have vacation planned, if you would like to work over a holiday break or not. That should all be discussed ahead of time, and likewise, they should be communicating with you. It is a long period for an internship, and when you combine the hours that you're spending over this 9 months, it really does equal about a semester long internship for a full-time internship. So the great thing about this is that because it is over a long time, we find that our students get integrated with the team a lot better than they would if they spent 3 weeks onboarding and learning everything, and then they're down to 6 weeks or so to actually do the work. Our students tend to be instrumental in the projects that they work on because they are able to spend so much time with their teams. For the State Department especially, and I don't know of any agencies that are going to supply your equipment, but that's the nice thing about it, is you can use your personal device to do your work. These are unpaid internships. Many of our students do seek course credit. We have had students be successful at work study. And then we do have a virtual intern awards program. The winners we take 8 winners, and they get a very small cash prize, but these are unpaid internships. And you are considered a unpaid volunteer with the federal government, so you don't have any special status for seeking a career in federal service. I'll talk more about that. So for our mentors, they benefit from getting interns in general, but with our program, because they can scale their project. They are welcome to accept as many interns as they would like for their project. So we see very often that mentors will end up taking more students that they advertise. So even if you see a project that says they're only accepting 1 or 2, don't let that dissuade you, because I often get asked if, we have 5 great candidates, can we take them all? And the answer is yes. So even if, some will say they want 50 interns, and they have the infrastructure to support that. So I would apply to anything that looks like it would align to your interests, regardless of how many students they're taking. I would say our primary goal for students is that you get experience, but the primary goal for the federal government is everyone wants to recruit you, right? We'd love for everyone to join the federal government and service, no matter if that's with the actual office that you're working with or if your interests lie elsewhere. Please do not let that dissuade you either. If there's a project that aligns to your interests, but it's maybe not the agency that you're interested in, that's okay. we'd love for you to get experience however that happens, and we provide lots of opportunities to network. For students, of course, this is accessible and affordable. There's no expectation that you are ever in person. You do not need to travel anywhere. You do not need to fund housing other than what you have right now. So we really love that it's accessible and affordable. Of course, I've talked about the flexibility. I will mention another thing that's extremely flexible is we see often that students are working with mentors in different time zones. So just because you are living in Asia or your project is in Asia, that should not dissuade you from seeking out that schedule with them. Our mentors are very flexible and they can find time to meet with you and then can expect that the work is being done autonomously. You don't need to expect that you're calling in for 2 hours a day and you need to find that time. Usually it's about an hour a week or so that you are meeting with your mentor, and sometimes it's less. So they are able to navigate different time zones very easily. Talked about course credit. Yep. And we provide lots of networking opportunities. So we host speed networking sessions, resume building sessions. We're going to have a mock interview session. So we really do invest in experiences for the interns in our program. We communicate all kinds of events, as you would imagine, brown bags across the federal government, and the organizations and mentors who are providing these opportunities often invite all of our VSFS interns to join. Your mentors are going to be federal employees. They're going to be contractors. You can expect that you will be working with more than one person in your project, and we also see that offices will find out about the availability of the VSFS interns, and you can expect to be offered experience outside of your project if agreed upon and you have time. So we see a lot that you end up working on more tasks with other mentors in the office than you initially are aligned with. So this is just a sample of all of the agencies that we work with. Our internships are largely with the State Department. We have about 60%, but we have lots of other opportunities as well. Again, this is our schedule, and I think I just presented this yesterday and I keep forgetting to go back and change this. I think it's a leap year, right? So we have February 29th. Regardless, I will tell you that the students always crash the system because they wait until the very last day to apply. Please don't wait until the very last day. But if the system crashes, don't worry, we will extend so that everyone who is trying to get in on February 29th has a chance to apply. Again, matching will happen in March and April, and everyone should hear by May if they have matched. We are going to offer the opportunity for the mentors to recruit on their own any unmatched students. So even if you don't get matched, we are going to try to get as many matched as possible by kind of offering a second round. So I can put some more of this in the chat, but our program email, vsfs@state.gov, and Open Opportunities is the platform that we use for the applications. It is part of the USA Jobs platform. So if you already have a USA Jobs account, you will use that same account information to create your Open Opportunities account. All of this is on our website, which I will put in the chat as well. And I believe that is all I have there. Link to the recording. Oh, sorry, that's not a question for me. Oh, that was already answered. Okay, great. All right, so I think that is all I have besides providing you with some additional links. I don't know if there are any other questions you want to put in the chat, or I'm happy to answer live questions as well.
When I have a question, you talked about how projects may say a certain number of students. Can you talk a little bit about how students can figure out which opportunities they should apply for, what all of that numeric piece um, looks like, and then
Mhm.
typically what kinds of projects interns do,
Sure.
depending?
So I think the easiest thing would be for me to pull up the Open Opportunities website and share that with you. All right. So let me see. We are. All right. So once you have your account, you will be able to look at, and I have mine's going to look a little different. I'm an admin, but in general, like I will show you my my project, which is going to be one of the first ones. Okay, so this is the project that I'm sponsoring for VSFS interns for the coming year, which is working on the program staff. So when you get access to the system, you'll be able to look at all of the projects. So it will tell you these are relevant skills, explain the project, and any requirements, language requirements. The and I actually haven't looked at this from a student perspective, but you'll be able to search for internships with keywords and whatnot. So here is where, you want to do research or intelligence, combating disinformation, whatever it is, medical field, whatever it is, you can put in your keyword, and I'm curious what this is going to come up with. Okay, this isn't really going to be that helpful because I don't think they're available yet. And I've never signed in as a student before. But you'll be able to use the platform to look for all of these opportunities. I think it's pretty straightforward. We don't really have a lot of we don't have a lot of issues with interns finding internships. So, and I'm trying to think. Go ahead.
One of our colleagues online was curious if they already have a clearance, can they work on classified projects?
Likely, yes. Mhm.
It sounds like a lot of this process is really built around your USA Jobs profile. Would you say that's correct?
Yes. So the Open Opportunities platform is integrated in USA Jobs, and you use login.gov to access it. And I will tell you one thing that I see a lot, especially with our more experienced students, is that some will have a government email already because you've had an internship, or perhaps you work part-time. There's all kinds of things that happen, fellowships and whatnot. You cannot use your government email to apply to VSFS. You have to use your student or your personal, because the system is designed to exclude full-time government employees. I will tell you that contractors technically are allowed to apply for VSFS internships. They are not federal employees, but you cannot use your government email to do so. It has nothing to do with like whether or not we want to let you. The system will not let you do it. So just use a personal email or a student email.
So would you suggest that students begin now to prepare for when the application period opens by constructing or building out their USA Jobs profile?
Yes, yes. So let me put our website in the chat, and you can you can create your profile now. Hopefully these two will work. Sometimes I feel like my links don't copy over. They did not. Copy link. And our account creation. Copy link. So I'm putting our, those are the same ones. That is not what I wanted. All right, so these two links are our website, which is going to have everything you need to know. It is a lot of information. So if you have any issues, please feel free to email me.
And just to confirm, so students can build their profiles now. At the same time, offices are submitting different projects, and then February 1st, the website will have all of the projects that are possible, and students can search. Can you talk a little bit? They'll be able to search clearly by keyword. Can they search by language capability? Can they search by agency? Are there other things that they can do?
Yes, I'm pretty sure whatever you type into the search, it'll just generate all of the projects that apply to that. I truthfully don't know how it all works because I've never logged in as a student. And let me also say that I've only been working on this program for 6 months. So while it may seem like I don't know what's going on, that's not totally true, but I spent a lot more time on the other side of the platform, and students don't have any issue finding projects that align to them. So I think the search is pretty robust and straightforward.
And one tip I know we've given students in the past is because you can see how many different possibilities there are, particularly as we get close to the deadline, you'll be able to see which ones still have a lot of possibilities open for you, if this is still the way you all are running this. And so we're not saying steer towards the ones that don't have as much interest, but you can definitely prioritize the internships where you have a higher probability of getting selected.
So that is true. And we can see which internships don't have applicants. I think that our feature, which will allow the mentors to search for unmatched students, will be very helpful. I think that we see quite a few, these are, I'm talking to graduate students, is that correct? Y'all get snapped up before the undergrads do. I will say that as well. And then I will also say that I had 7 projects that did not get applicants, or either didn't get applicants or didn't get qualified applicants, and they were the ones that had obscure, I will say unique or obscure language requirements. And I'm talking, Eastern European, not languages a lot of students are taking in like mainstream classes. So if you speak a language that is not as common, you will definitely be able to use that language. FSI, the State Foreign Service Institute, that trains all of the foreign service diplomats, they love to have those languages covered, and they are always seeking students to help there.
That's great advice. For someone who is formally a federal employee, are they excluded from being able to compete for VSFS?
No, you should just use your personal email, and this is a recruitment tool, so I don't see any reason, as long as you're a student, that they would exclude you.
Are there things that help candidates stand out in a good way in their application?
So our program is unique in the fact that we don't um, screen students on a programmatic level. So every single application is going straight to the mentor and whoever they have on their panel in their office to evaluate. So each application should be, and the system leads you this way. Each application is unique, right? It would be better that you not use a boilerplate cover letter, you know, to apply for a job, and the same thing for our internships. It's going to be very apparent to the mentors if you gave them a generic response to the application versus taking time to read the project, research the agency in the office, and to cater your application to what they're looking for. Pay attention to things like what their qualifications are. They may not be hard and fast qualifications, but they may say prefer X, Y, and Z. Pay attention to that. If you do not think that you are a good candidate for something, it's not to say, you know, for example, if they say I would like to have, you know, study in this career field or whatever, you can, there's a limit to how many you can apply to. Let me just say that. So it's not to say you shouldn't be hopeful, but if something specifically says you have to have an advanced skill in X, Y, or Z, pay attention to that. And make that maybe not your first choice. If you really want to apply with them, make something else your first choice, because the mentors are, some mentors are very specific about what they're looking for, and they'll list that in the project description. Does that make sense? Oh, I think you're on mute.
I think that makes sense. How many total applications can someone apply to? And do they can craft individual applications for each one in order to do those tailored cover letters? Okay.
Yep. So I believe they're accepting 5, and you rank them. So the mentor will see if you ranked their project first. So you should be strategic in what you're applying to, because the mentors might screen the first choice applicants if they are good matches for their project. And then they'll move to the second choice. That isn't to say that everyone does that. And as I said, each mentor takes their own approach, but just know that your rank of the projects will be visible to those mentors.
So candidates will go into the system, they'll use their profile, and then they'll upload their individual cover letters with their rankings. Are there typically agencies that you see that get a lot of traffic? Are there typically agencies you see that get less traffic that maybe our folks should learn more about now so they're ready to do their rankings?
Yes, far and away, our most popular projects are in Intel. And to be honest, I think that mentors know that. So some of them are really catchy, like, do you want to be a spy? Like, who doesn't want to be a spy? We had one of the projects that asked if you wanted to be a spy, and it got 200 applicants. So yeah, I mean, it is a competition. There are limited amounts of spots for some of them. I would also say that our projects that are at overseas posts are very popular. The agencies outside of the State Department tend to not get as many applicants. And if I will tell you that even if your goal is to join the State Department, but another agency has a good project for you, you will get the opportunity to network in the State Department, and you will get the opportunity to be mentored on navigating the bureaucracy of joining federal service. If you want to be an FSO or you want to go into Intel, wherever you want to go, there will be opportunities for you to talk to career professionals in that field. We provide you with lots of feedback. By the way, if you are interested in joining the State Department, I encourage you to reach out to our diplomats in residence. Let me grab that for you real quick. Many, if not all of them, also provide appointments. So you can talk with them one-on-one. They can tell you about every career path we have in the State Department. They can connect you with all of the programs, all the various fellowships that align to your interests. So if you are interested in joining the State Department, please reach out to the diplomat in residence in your region.
Thank you. We also have a question about how students have been able to leverage these experiences into full-time paid
Mhm.
opportunities.
Sure. So as I mentioned in the beginning, this does not, you are an unpaid volunteer. You do not have any special status. Unlike some of the other programs that we have. We have a fellowship, we have multiple fellowship programs that will, once you complete the process, you are guaranteed a spot. VSFS does not transition interns in that fashion. However, we will provide you resources to help build your federal resume. For those of you who don't know, there is a specific way to create your federal resume to help you navigate the hiring process. The mentors will also, and program wise, we also provide you with many opportunities to network. So I would fully expect that through those relationships, you could be notified of open positions that the mentors think would be a good fit. Now, I can't guarantee any of that, but that is really the extent of it. It is more of a relationship based process because we can't offer any special access. Yeah, so that's what I have to say there.
It sounds like it's a great acculturation tool as well into how these agencies work. And
Mhm.
are mentors typically folks who like to nurture and stay in contact with their interns when they're done?
Absolutely. I would say that even if our mentors are looking for extra hands, so to speak, to staff up, their primary goal here is to mentor, to help students with experience. So many of them, say, I had an experience like this and I would like to give back. So when the mentors are wanting to give their time, it's because they genuinely want to help the kind of the next generation of federal servants, find their way into the government.
That's great. So friends, as we wrap up, I just want to do one more quick reminder on the timetable. Right now is a great chance for you to start to work on your USA Jobs profile, to start to learn about all of the different agencies that have typically submitted projects in the past, and this is their process, so it's not exactly sure who's going to be submitting. But then on February 1st, when you visit that wonderful website that Gwen has put in the chat, you'll be able to see all of the available projects and really start to craft your tailored application to your top 5 choices. It sounds like thinking really clearly about what your top 5 choices are is one of the best pieces of advice we can share with you. And then you'll hear about your status, am I correct, one in May?
So that is a little bit in flux. In the past, it has just been a fluid thing where you couldn't necessarily expect to hear by a certain date. While that's still the case, what we're going to do this year is we're going to encourage all of the mentors to select their interns through providing an informal offer and then selecting, actually from a technological standpoint, selecting those students in the system. And then in the beginning of April, targeting April 12th, we should send out the first round of offers, formal offers, where you will be able to accept the offer and sign the agreement letter with your mentor. If you do not get an offer at that point, or it's possible that you could still be waiting on your first choice to provide you that offer. Once this initial offer happens, that does not mean that you won't get more offers. One of the challenges we had before is we would see, for an example, a student applied to 3 positions. They were offered their number 2 and their number 3. They either hadn't heard from number 1 or they were still waiting to hear back from them. And then the question was, what do I do? Do I take number 2 or number 3? Because I may not get number 1? Do I wait for number 1? What do I do? And we had, as you can imagine, both mentors and students frustrated by that process in that fashion because they didn't know if they should just take one as a plan B and then potentially disappoint that mentor. No one wants that to happen, and everybody should want all of the matches to be in everyone's best interest, right? I think everyone wants you to get your number 1. And so what we're hoping is that by doing this sort of like blanket first offer, that will take care of a lot of that uncertainty. Unfortunately, once we do that, it's still going to be kind of uncertain because at that point, you're going to just be getting offers as they come. We'll see how this works. I don't think there's any, we haven't figured out the best way to push out these offers, but we are hoping that you get the bulk of this by the beginning of April. I think by May, if you haven't received a VSFS offer, you should consider other options that you have. Now, what I will say is that and I don't think I said this in the flexibility part. You are welcome to be a full-time student. You could be a part-time, you can be a full-time student, and you can take this on. You can have another internship outside of VSFS. You can have a part-time job. We only limit that you can only work on one VSFS internship, but you can have other internships, fellowships, opportunities outside. So even if you do take that other internship and you have time and someone from VSFS contacts you after the fact, you are still welcome to take on our internship as well.
That's great. That's a lot of flexibility. And then students typically will begin in September. So this is a great way to kick off the fall semester or the fall season.
Yes, and I will say as well, we've gotten a lot of mentors asking, why do we have to wait till September? What if they want to get started in August or earlier? And the answer to that is if it is mutually agreeable, you may start earlier. We tell our mentors not to expect that, and you should not feel pressured to start, but I know some schools are starting in the middle to even early August. If you're settled at school and you're ready to take on your internship, feel free. And if your mentor is ready, then you're welcome to start a little earlier.
For second-year students who will not be students in September, they should also look to other routes, or is this still a possibility for them?
So students who are graduating now or students who will graduate?
Yeah. Students are in their second year, so they'll finish in typically May.
Okay, so if you're graduating now, you are not eligible for this internship. However, if you will continue to be a student in any fashion, you can be taking a language in community college is fine. You do need to be a student. But we do have on our website for State Department specifically a Pathways program for recent grads. I don't know, is it called Pathways? It's a fellowship for recent grads. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat if you're interested. This is our recent grad program that I know of. I am not familiar with all of the opportunities, so I am also not a recruiter. So please reach out if you are graduating in the spring and you're not eligible for VSFS. You can check out that link, or please reach out to our diplomats in residence. They would be more than happy to recruit you, especially if you are interested in the IT field.
Excellent. Well, friends, this is a great chance to pick one's brain as you use these last couple weeks before everything opens to prepare. Do we have any other questions? All right, seeing none in the chat, you'll also find the VSFS email, which I will repeat here for all of you. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, when you go, oh my goodness, why didn't I take advantage of that chance and ask my question? You have a chance to continue to learn more. And we know that our students have had a really good experience. Those who've done VSFS, working with their mentors at lots of different agencies, working on climate, working on security, working on intel, working on regional issues, education, lots of different kinds of projects. So uh, I hope you all will explore and find some great things come February 1. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.